The Legend of the Moon, Chang'e and the Jade Rabbit. Chinese fairy tales recreated by XuFancheng Culture Study Center. In all civilizations, there are real stories handed down from generation to generation. These stories are what we call today the fairy tales. Once upon a time, in a very distant village in China, there was a tree overlooking the eastern sea. The tree was so large and tall, and its branches reached the sky. On this tree lived 10 crows, which had the task of raising the sun into the sky. Each raven had its own sun, and every day, in turn, a different raven with a different sun rose in flight. Life was in perfect balance. The village men loved the sun that gave them energy and food. One day the unthinkable happened. For no reason, all the crows rose in flight with each of their suns. With the heat of all 10 suns in the sky, the earth began to dry. The heat was too intense for the lives of man. The lakes and rivers began to dry. The earth no longer gave food, and many blazes devastated the forests, and the animals could not survive. Faced with the chaos, the emperor asked for help from god Dijun, the god of eastern paradise. The god Dijun decided to send the best celestial archer, Hou, to the aid of the emperor. Hou took his red bow with his white arrows and his wife Chang'e and went down to the land of men. At first, Hou tried to make reasons with the 10 crows, but they did not want to hear, and so he took the first arrow and flung it at the sky. The arrow hit the first crow, which fell to the ground with his own son. Then he took a second arrow and hit another crow, then the third, and so on, up to the 9th crow. Hou left only one crow alive with his own son, which was necessary to give heat and energy to the earth. When god Dijun learned that Hou killed 9 of his 10 children, he got angry and cursed Hou and his wife Chang'e to be chased from their heavenly abode and made them remain forever on earth by taking away the gift of immortality. Hou liked life on earth. He taught the art of archery and was a hero of the men. But only one thing was missing, his immortality. With the passage of time, he began to feel guilty for having forced his beautiful wife Chang'e to give up her immortality, forcing her to an earthly life full of hardships. Hou had to find a way to return to heaven and to regain their immortality. One day he learned that the Queen Mother of the West possessed an elixir of immortality. Then Hou crossed seas and mountains until he reached the presence of the Queen Mother of the West, who knew the fame of the archer and his heroic exploits, and so she immediately gave him the last bottle of the elixir. Hou now had a great question before him: what to do? I can't drink the elixir and go to heaven and leave Chang'e alone. What should I do? Tormented by 1,000 questions, Hou once back home decided to hide the elixir. Days later, Chang'e discovered her husband's secret, and despite the love for her beloved, she was fed up with that life. So, on the night of the full moon, Chang'e secretly drank the elixir. Immediately after drinking it, Chang'e began to feel her body to be lighter and lighter, and she started to float up into the sky. Chang'e was frightened and started to cry and called her beloved. But when Hou arrived, she had already climbed into the sky, floating towards the big bright moon. Since that full moon night, Chang'e lives a lonely life on the moon in her large palace with only one friend, the Jade Rabbit, Yutu, who had been saved from the flames by her. It is said that when the moon is full, if you look at it well, you can see the image of Chang'e and Yutu. The story of the Jade Rabbit goes like this. One day the rabbit, together with other animals, driven by the desire to do good, decided to get food for an old traveler. The rabbit was the only one who could not find food, so he proposed himself as a dish and launched himself into the flames. But Chang'e, struck by the courage and noble heart of the little rabbit, saved him and took him with her to the moon. The Chinese loved the legends linked to Chang'e and Yutu so much that they dedicated the names of the moon exploration mission to them, called Chang'e 4, and the mission rover called Yutu 2, in honor of the pure and agile figure of the Jade Rabbit. Thank you for watching. For any queries, you can mail us at. We will bring to you more fascinating Chinese cultural stories. Don't forget to share and comment.